Rachel, here with Ari, and we're your hosts for the Merry Writer podcast. This week, we're on episode 240, and we're asking, what's your criteria for rating books 5 stars? Before we start, if you enjoy the show, consider checking out our coffee page. You can follow the page for free, as we have plenty of goodies for all. If you're feeling generous, a one-off donation will get you access to a few more treats, or you can become a Merry Writer for just $2 a month. For this, you'll get access to all the items in our shop, including exclusive goodies, as well as access to bonus episodes, all while helping support the podcast. But if that's not your style and you still enjoy the podcast, then please subscribe wherever you're listening if you're not already, and consider dropping us a like if you're watching on YouTube. So, what exactly is your criteria for rating books 5 stars? I know not everybody reviews books that they read. It helps the authors out a tremendous amount. So if you do get the inkling to review, you absolutely should do so, or at the very least, give it a rating. But I know a lot of people are pretty stingy when it comes to giving 5 stars. So we're just curious, what does a book have to do to earn 5 stars from you? For me, if it's a book that I comprehend and that I want to go back to and reread over and over again, that's probably worthy of 5 stars for me, because I don't really picture things in my head when I read, like most readers tend to do. So it's difficult for me to get through a book if because I don't really picture things, and I'm a visual learner. So if I finish a book and I'm able to discuss it with somebody else who has read the book, or even if they haven't read the book and I'm just really excited about it, and I start recounting all the events that happened in the story, then that's probably a 5 star, because that means I clearly got something out of it. So I must have enjoyed it enough that my brain was able to comprehend it. And yes, I know that has to do with like the age group and the writing style, because I do read a lot of middle grade. But just saying, if I comprehend it and remember the events of the book long after I've read it, then yes, probably a 5 star for me.
I have to say, I'm just going to whip back to what you said about how some people can be stingy. I have to admit, a number of family members, and I may have mentioned this in another episode, and I don't care, but a number of my family members have pointed out to me that they will never give a 5 star ever, just because, and that's it, just because. And it's just like, and as someone who owns a Etsy shop and is punished if you are given low rating, even a 4 star, it will affect your rating score, and it affects things, and it drops you down, and you lose star seller badges and all this. So knowing that certain people will never give you you could give them the best experience ever and they will still never give you a 5 star. It hurts my soul a little bit. No one's saying you have to give 5 stars, but if you've already got it in your head that nothing, good God, Cthulhu himself could come out of the chaos and give you £1 million, and you'd still go, nah, I'm not going to give you 5 stars for that. Oh, sorry, it hurts me.
No, it's just one of those things. So it's like you see the potential's there, but you could always do better. It's like you could get that $1 million, but they could have given you more. They could have given you 2 million or something. It's like that mentality, and it kind of cracks me up a little bit, not gonna lie.
That is it, exactly. It's that kind of like, well, you didn't hand deliver it on a gold cushion surrounded by singing angels, did you? You only delivered it the very next day, perfect condition, with free gift. Nope, not enough. The free gift should have been more. You should have given me a discount. Okay, I'm ranting now, so I'll stop. But yeah, it's one of the reasons why I'm a little bit less interested in rating books or any item these days. Not me personally, but reading ratings, because I've seen so many where, you get some idiot going, oh, I knew this was a novella going in, and I don't really like novellas. 2 stars, it was too short. It was a novella. It's like, take some goddamn accountability for your own choices. Good God, really hate that. But anyway, back to the question. I am just like you. For me, a 5 star is if I can reread it, but not like for comprehension, but it's, to me, certain stories are great for rereading, and it's a comfort. It's like you're going back to revisit Friends and, enjoying the party all over again, even if it's like a Greek tragedy, or even if it's got, sadness or anger, horrible things happening. If the characters are written so well that you feel like you are hanging out with friends, and you want to read that book. I mean, I've got a stack of books that are always my go-to. If I'm having a really bad day, or if I don't know what to read, and I'm staring at my giant TBR pile, I'm going to go back to that book I've read 18 times. That will almost always get them a 5-star if it's some story that I can do that with.
No, I completely agree with that. It is a comfort thing because I talk about the Warrior series by Aaron Hunter all the time on this podcast, but that was the series that got me interested in reading when I was in middle school. Like before then, I just didn't care about reading. I didn't really get into reading until I was in college anyway, but I read the crap out of the Warrior series when I was in middle school, and the series is still going on and I'm still reading it. And whenever I get into a reading slump, I go back and I read those books, and I often start at book 1 from series 1, and then I read through the entire series, and it's it's just such a huge comfort. And also I think part of it too is that when I'm in a reading slump, because they're middle grade books, they're pretty quick to get through. And I feel like, I don't know if you feel like this. If you read shorter books, obviously the shorter they are, the faster they are to get through. And then you end up reading more books. And when you read a lot of books in a short amount of time, I just feel so productive.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's like when you
it's
read
just,
short story books or something, rather than the huge epic tomes, you read something
yeah,
short and you can get a lot of them in, and then you put them on Goodreads and you're like, wow, look how many books I've read.
exactly. It just makes you feel so good. So yeah, that's one of the reasons. But the comfort thing, it's like it just brings you back to that moment in time when you first read it. You would love to reread it for the first time again, but having that nostalgia, I don't know, it feels really good.
That what you just said, yeah, being able to read it for the first time. It's like movies, being able to watch a movie that's got like a oh my gosh moment at the end or something. Being able to go back and have that is such a cool concept. But we don't, so we have to deal with, you know what, I know what's going to happen, and it gives me comfort to know what's going to happen. It's why we rewatch movies that we like, because there's a, especially if you're feeling anxious or feeling stressed or depressed or anything like that, because there is comfort in knowing what comes next. You know, no upsetting surprises. Even if someone dies in it, it's like, you know it's coming, so you're prepared, kind of.
I don't know. I think you explained it really well. It's just like such a good feeling. I don't really have a good segue, so I'm just gonna go into my next point. What really earns a 5-star from me, even, I mean, there are some books that I can reread over and over again that I comprehend, and they'll still get 4 stars from me. But if you really want a 5-star review from me, you have to make me cry. Doesn't matter if it's happy tears, sad tears, angry tears. If a book makes me cry, then you bet your ass I'm giving you a 5-star rating. If you make me feel something, then yes, I really enjoy the emotions that go along with stories, not just books, TVs and stuff like that. TVs, yes, individual TVs. TV shows and movies. I really enjoy the emotion that goes behind them. I recently read the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series by Toshikazu Kawaguchi, and I probably mispronounced his name, and I apologize. And I cried in every single book, and each book is like 4 chapters long, and they're their own stories. One of the books, I cried at every story. The 4th book, I read the 2nd story, and I was a blubbering mess. And I tell you, the snot that came out of me was ridiculous. I didn't know I had that in me, but that, if it really makes me feel to the point that I just have to close the book and put it down and say, I need a break from this. I got to process this. I got to get all the tears out. 5-star review.
I can see that. I was weird. We were talking about this, weren't we? A couple of weeks ago, from when we recorded this in August, about how certain things are meant to make you feel things, because there was that conversation I saw online about, you know, oh my God, I won't read a book if a dog dies or something like that. And now there's these websites and things that tell you all the tragedies that happen in books and movies so you can avoid them. And obviously, some people definitely need that. But I'll be honest, part of me gets a little bit sad about that, because while some of it I understand, especially if it is a PTSD trigger or something like that, or it's just too overwhelming, the other part of it is you're supposed to have experiences of different emotions. You know, it's like people in your life will die, people in your life will hurt you, people in your life will make you feel the best joy, hopefully, I'm hoping, not obviously not hoping people will die in your life, but I'm hoping you at least get some joy. People will make you experience things. You will experience things just from whatever you do. And it's important to have those feelings and go through them. And it may not make me cry, but my next point is very similar. And a book has to have a profound impact on me. There are some books and movies that have done that I will never, ever reread because I cannot and I will not put myself through that again. But I definitely wanted to have that experience. I definitely wanted to feel a little soul crushed. I wanted to have my heart ripped out and be like, no, 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 no. Oh my God, why did you do that to me? I needed that because you're supposed to have these, this gamut of emotions. I don't think we should have just two feelings. And again, not having a go at anyone. We always throw the caveats in, not having a go at anyone. If you need to know these kinds of, does the dog die? Does the family member abandon their child? Anything like that. If that really gets to you to the point where you need to know all the spoilers in a book before you'll read it, that's okay. But I think there should be somewhere you just go into it and just feel something. And yeah, some of those things will definitely get a 5-star from me, even if I never touch them again. And I may tell people these are the best books, but you will be hurt by them. They will stay with you forever. And just a few things. I think it's annoying because I never read the book. And to be honest, I watched the movie, which was animated. It's almost like a kid's movie. And I don't really want to watch it again. And that is Plague Dogs. If you have ever watched or read the story Plague Dogs, which is about these two dogs that escape from an animal laboratory, oh my gosh, that hurt me on so many levels. And I was amazed with the animation and the story, but I cannot watch that again. I just can't put myself through that. That's what it did to me. And if I did read the book, which I don't think I'm going to, because the book will definitely be more intense than the movie, because it certainly was with Watership Down. I don't think I would, but I would definitely rate it 5 stars because I know it would have this emotional impact that makes me sort of sit back and go, whoa, wow, I felt that. And then hate them forever. But, still 5 stars.
But that's kind of the point. It makes you like that. There's that longevity of the book and the whole, stories are timeless type of thing. That feeling is always going to stay with you and you're always going to remember that. Because with the emotion thing, obviously when you create characters and stuff, everybody tells you that your characters need to be relatable and possibly likable and things like that. And some of these things you can't say, oh, yes, I necessarily went through that exact same thing. But I don't know, there's two sides of it. If your character goes through, I don't know, like their mother dies or something, and you in real life, your mother had passed away, whether it was years ago or fairly recent or something, you're going to know how that character feels and you're going to feel that as well. And it may sting a little bit and it may make you tear up and it'll be relatable. But there's the other chance that like if a character loses a parent, I am very fortunate. I still have both of my parents, but I feel like I don't know what it feels like to lose a parent, but I anticipate that feeling. And I know for a fact that I don't want to know what that feels like. At least not anytime soon. You know what I mean? So it still has that emotional impact, even though it's not quite relatable, but it is. Did that make any sense? I don't even know, but hopefully you guys understand what I'm trying to get at.
No, that made a lot of sense. And I think I always go back to, and this is especially if you're a certain age group, when we grew up with certain movies or books, if you were lucky enough to read the book. And I'm going to list a few, and you'll know if you were in that age group what I'm talking about. In the movie was called The Secret of Nim. The book is actually Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim. The Never-Ending Story. Land Before Time. Yeah, Rachel's having a bit of a meltdown.
I've only seen The Land Before Time, and I've actually been really wanting to rewatch the movies.
You know what I'm talking about, don't you? You know the part, right? So you've got Secret of Nim, Land Before Time. If I just said Never-Ending Story, Watership Down. If you were very, very sad, you watched Plague Dogs. And one that I read that still to this day at the age of 43, I still cry if I read it. And it's a kid's book, and it's one of the Animals of Farthing Wood collection. Yeah, the Animals of Farthing Wood, and then one, they all the different characters in different ones, and it was called The Fox Cub Bold, and it's a very short book, and I still can't get all the way through it without crying. And it says something, because these are all mostly like kids' books, kids' movies, and they were designed to make you address the fact that shit happens. Life isn't always good. You have to find a way to get through it. Yes, parents are going to die. Yes, you're going to go through tragedy in some form or another. You're going to have obstacles and hardship, and it's going to feel insurmountable. It's the very thing, like fairy stories tell you that don't say that the dragon doesn't exist. It tells you how to defeat the dragon. Why are we defeating dragons? They're quite cute. But anyway, it's that. And I think it's important to have those stories for kids. I would not want kids to constantly be not shown stories where there's tragedy and difficulty and heartbreak, because how are you supposed to get past them? And the very fact that there is this set, and I guarantee there'll be people who listen to this going, oh my God, yes, I watched all those movies or I read those books and I remember exactly which part you're talking about, because we just know. And I'm sure every generation, because obviously I'm talking about a certain age group where we grew up with those, there'll be other ones where you also grew up with something that did that to you. And I think, yeah, and it's weird how getting your heart hurt, getting to the point where you're crying will make you go, God damn, that was good. 5 stars.
Yeah, and I don't know why. Like it sounds like some weird form of torture, but like it really isn't, because emotions are a natural human thing and we're supposed to feel things. And again, whether it's happy tears or sad tears or angry tears, like it's good that you feel things. And if a book makes you feel things to that extreme, then that means the author did their job right, because then that means you really related with the character or the situation or some form of another, I don't know, however you want to look at it. But yeah. Did you ever watch Homeward Bound?
I watched the original and the remake, and they both destroy me. Oh my gosh, Homeward Bound. Yes.
I don't know if I could ever watch those movies again. Every once in a while I think of them, but I'm like, I can't. Just can't. But they were good movies. They were good movies. And I'm sure those are probably books too, but I'm not entirely sure if they are. I haven't read them.
Might be, yeah. It's like Black
like most
Beauty.
movies
I
are.
remember reading the story of Black Beauty as a book. That was very upsetting. It's with animals, isn't it? Because it hurts us more when it's an animal. But again,
Yes.
I just mentioned it earlier about the whole, does the dog die and everything. It's like, it is horrible and it is upsetting. And especially if you're a pet owner and you have to go through the tragedy of losing your animals and suffering, because you suffer horrendously, just like there are any other part of your family. And then what do we do when we feel okay? We go and get more, because more animals need love and support and a safe house. And then we put ourselves through it again because it's important. And sometimes it's important to feel that. That's why we watch these movies as kids. We're traumatized, but we keep going.
We're pushing through the trauma. That's why we're probably writers today.
It's like therapy. You have to get all the emotions out, because you
Yes.
can't just sit there watching kids' movies crying. Although it's not a bad idea. Maybe just watch kids' movies and cry a lot. I don't know. It's probably healthier.
It's cathartic. Yeah, it's very healthy to let out a good cry. And I think that's probably part of the reason why I like it when books make me cry, because it's like, I don't know, maybe this is just me, but every once in a while, if something makes me cry, whether it's a book or just something else, like I don't even know what, I'm a sympathetic crier. If somebody else's cries like in front of me, then I cry. And I don't even know why I'm crying, but it's just one of those things that every once in a while I'm like, I haven't cried in a really long time. And so when I read that Before the Coffee Gets Cold series, and I was crying like literally every day for like a week straight. I binged all 4 books in like a week. And I was like, it felt so good. It just felt really good.
Well, that's it. Isn't there some sort of chemical? Because like the whole point, crying is meant to be a release, so you don't build up crap in your system and then explode into anger and homicide. It's literally a vent, like a valve that opens up and lets you release. And it's one of the most cathartic things, because you do, once you finish crying, you do that big and then you feel better. It's weird. It is a weird thing, it does help. We should all have more crying time.
Yes, yeah. Maybe that'll be our next podcast. Well, after the ranty writer. Whenever the merry writer ends, we'll have the ranty writer, and then we'll have the depressed writer, I guess. I don't know. I'm going to end it on that. There you have it. If you want to get a 5-star rating from me and Ari, make us cry, make it a comfort read for us years from now, and just help Rachel with her reading comprehension. Before we leave, if you want to learn more about us, if you haven't already, and the podcast, and opportunities to be a guest on the show, then please do check out our Podbean website at themerrywriterpodcast.podbean.com. But we're going to turn it over to you guys in the meantime. What does a book need to do to get a 5-star rating out of you? That rhymes. I didn't do that on purpose. That's great. I love it. Let us know your answers in the comments so we can chat. You don't have to rhyme if you don't want to. But remember, we do release a new episode every Wednesday. Next week, we're discussing bad writing advice. So to ensure you don't miss that, and I know you don't want to miss it, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on your way out. As always, thank you for listening to the Merry Writer Podcast. We will see you guys next week. This podcast is brought to you by Reams of Paper. We're killing trees. The music titled Inspired is by Kevin MacLeod, licensed under Creative Commons 4.0.